What on earth do immigration attorneys do? Don't they just push paper? Why do I need an attorney? Is hiring an immigration attorney my only option? If I believe that I need a good attorney, and a good immigration attorney, how do I determine the good versus the bad? We're going to give you 9 questions to look up and research before any attorney that you meet.
Calificas para ser legal, quieres saber, solo llama al abogado Andrés Mejer.
So, question number 1. What on earth does a good immigration attorney do? Don't they just push paper? That was the question that we got. You may not realize this, but you don't need an immigration attorney. I know it's a secret. Shh. It's recommended you get one, but you can represent yourself in your visa process or in your court case if you so choose. In particular, you should have what's called a straightforward case. And what on earth is that? Well, let me tell you. A straightforward case is where you are clearly eligible for an immigration benefit. Think of it, your wife is applying for your green card. There is nothing that would disqualify you, and you're going to invest the time to answer the questions correctly. You're going to invest the time to figure out what are the required supporting documents. You're going to figure out where to mail the application, what the fee is. And if you could do all that, you could potentially get your visa or your green card without an attorney. Even if you do everything right, you won't know it until the very end. In other words, you're going to be second guessing yourself, particularly if you spent a lot of time in it. You're going to be worried, hey, did I forget something? You're going to wonder, did I make a mistake? You'll be wondering what if for the next 1 or 2 or 3 years. Because a mistake today could result in removal proceedings, a delayed decision, and possible appeals with filing fees. Every time you send something to immigration, it takes them months to get back to you. If you made a mistake, you could have lost out 6 months or longer. Today, there's really no room for error. But what if you don't have a straightforward case? Or you don't know what kind of case you have? Well, then really you have no choice but to get an attorney. So let me take this opportunity to explain what a good immigration attorney should be doing for you. The most important part, the strategy, has 3 fundamental questions for immigration case. These are 3 questions I ask or I answer with every consultation that I do. I don't allow anybody to hire me if I can't get through these 3 questions. So the first one, good immigration attorney is going to make sure that you qualify for an immigration benefit. Think of a green card or a U visa or an asylum or special immigrant juvenile, VAWA, T visa, cancellation of removal, employment-based visa, whatever it is. Most attorneys stop there. The moment they look at, hey, you qualify for something, that's all they're worried about. They charge you a fee, and they'll work on your case later on. If they figure out question 2 and 3, well, you lost your money. Now, second thing, so first is, do you qualify? Second, is there something in your past that could disqualify you? For example, multiple entries into the United States, criminal convictions or pending criminal charges, misrepresentation to immigration officials or other government entities, prior denied petitions, prior orders of removal, or you're in removal proceedings. These are just to name a few. These are things that could make you ineligible. I want to know these things up front. Before I accept you as a client, I want to have a plan for you. And 3, can I fix it? So, number 1, do you have a path to legal status? If the answer is no, stop there. If the answer is yes, okay, is there something in your past that can make you ineligible? So let's say you entered illegally without permission and you're going to have to consular process. Well, the fact that you've been here for 10 years, that means you're ineligible for 10 years unless you apply and receive a waiver. Great. So the unlawful presence is a problem, and the fix, number 3, is the waiver. Now that is one example of a fix. There's many of them. Could be post-conviction relief to criminal convictions. That's when you go and you reopen it to have a different outcome. Waivers for unlawful presence or misrepresentation. A motion to reopen a prior order of removal. A motion to terminate proceedings to continue with your application. So, help you find a job so that you're not a public charge. Again, every scenario is a little bit different, but the point is a good immigration attorney is going to create a plan that determines 1, you qualify for something, 2, your past, you have nothing in your past that disqualifies you, or you do have something, and 3, we'll fix it, and we have a way to fix it. and we only accept clients. We only allow clients to hire us when we can do 1, 2, and 3. So after creating your plan, a good immigration attorney will help you implement the plan by order prior immigration documents through the FOIA process, Freedom of Information Act. Order any criminal documents through background searches, FBI or otherwise. Help you collect supporting documents, preparing the petitions and reviewing each question with you in detail. Assembling the package, mailing it to the right office with the correct filing fee. Answering your questions timely throughout the process. Going with you to interviews or to court. And recommending litigation where necessary in order to hold the government example for bad decisions. Hiring a good immigration attorney is about peace of mind. You need to be able to trust your attorney and feel good about your options. Otherwise, you're better off not doing anything. At the end of the day, go with your gut. If you feel that you trust the person, then go. Do it. But if a little voice inside your head is telling you, I don't know about this guy, wait. Secondly, is an immigration attorney my only option to solve my legal problem? No, not really. It might be your best choice, but you have 3 options, and let's review each one. First, you can follow the process on your own. The problem with that is you don't get the strategy a good attorney will provide. It doesn't cost you anything but your time, but you will have to spend a lot of time researching which forms you will need. You're going to have to learn how to fill out those forms. You're going to have to figure out what supporting documents you need, where you need to mail it, how much you need, what's it cost, what's the filing fee, and a single mistake can result in removal proceedings, or it results in a delay of months and months. You're not going to have the benefit of experience from prior petitions because chances are this is the first time you've done this, unless this really is the 5th time you've applied for citizenship. For your sake, I hope that's not the case. But look, there are books that can help make it easier for you, but again, you're investing your time to figure that out. If you have an interview, you're going on your own. So if immigration decides you failed to prove a key point, you could get denied, which means you lost your filing fee, or you would have to pay additional money to appeal a denial. A denial, if you don't have legal status today, will result in you being placed in removal proceedings. If you do prove most of the elements, but there are documents missing, you may have to respond to a request for evidence. That's where the government says, I think you might prove your case, but you have an issue with X. Or they can give you a notice of intent to deny. That's where they're saying, listen, I don't think you're going to prove your case, and here's why. And they give you time to respond to that. How much? 33 days or 84 days. And it takes them months and months to review it. So again, a mistake, even if you fix it, you lose a lot of time. So if you file it to the wrong place or with the wrong filing fee, you can waste months before you even found out you made a mistake. Bottom line is you don't know what you don't know. You get all the stress, but you do save the money. Today, many of my clients in removal proceedings started by filing their own asylum petitions and got placed into removal. Someone said, hey, fill this out, go ahead, you get work authorization. They didn't understand what they were doing, and they found themselves in removal they didn't have the strategy. They just wanted a work authorization. And they made a mistake. They got some really bad advice. So let me give you an example. Matt is a retired police officer from Maryland. He married Maria, who was in the US while studying for her master's degree. They didn't hire an attorney, and Matt and Maria decided, you know what? Matt's gonna go back to school. He retired from the police force. They moved to New Jersey where his parents lived. And Maria went back home and Matt filed for her. Now the process has taken 2.5 years. Matt is finally on the right track. He consulted with me, unfortunately only after he had filed everything, to try to figure out, listen, what went wrong and how to fix it. And I met Matt on 2 or 3 occasions now, and I look forward to meeting Maria soon. Now, he initially failed to submit any supporting documents. So when he did the marriage-based petition, all he included is a marriage certificate, nothing else. So they asked him for more information. He sent the wrong filing fee. Now these didn't happen in this order. He also submitted a petition without a signature. There's a lot of different forms that go through. It's not just one form and everything's perfect. And in one of those, he didn't sign it and it was denied. So every time they submitted something, immigration doesn't review, they have a checklist, but they don't look at these 10 things and say, okay, you missed these 3. No, typically what they do is they find one thing, they send you a notice, you fix it, then they go and look for the rest of them. So this took, despite Matt being diligent, he read some books, he called USCIS a number of times. Despite doing his best, Maria has been out of the US for 2.5 years. They've been apart for 2.5 years. He's worked, saved money to go on a trip for a couple of weeks and comes back. And it wasn't necessary. Maria never should have left. They thought that was the only way for her to get her green card. But she was here legally. She entered legally. She was in legal status. He could have filed for her, and within 1 year, Maria would have gotten her green card and they never would have been apart. So sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Second option is you can hire a notario. Now, notario is less common in English because in Latin America, a notario in some of our countries, not in Chile where I'm born, but in Mexico, for example, and in parts of Central America, a notario is actually an attorney or has a degree higher than that of an attorney. There are only a certain number of notarios allowed by law in certain districts. You go to them to fill out documents. You go to them just the way that you would go to an attorney. But in the US, a notario is a notary public. All they could do, you pay $50 and you take a simple exam, and you too can be paid $6 to acknowledge that Andres Mejer is really Andres Mejer when he signs a document in front of you. That's all a notary public can do here in the US, but in some of our countries, they do a lot more. In most states, a notario is actually breaking the law. It's called unauthorized practice of law. They have neither the experience nor the education that attorneys do. You don't get the strategic advice that a good immigration attorney will provide by going to a notario. They are sometimes cheaper, but not always. So let's put aside the comment that cheap is sometimes can be very expensive. So yes, that is, I'm certainly talking about that, but I just mean there's plenty of notarios that have been arrested for charging people $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 and running away with the money. A notario can't go with you to an interview or to court. So after getting your work authorization, for example, in an asylum case, they're not going to go to your asylum hearing. They also won't go with you to court. They take no responsibility for what they do. They don't even sign their name in the petitions. It's all in your name. It's like they just don't exist because on paper they don't. If they make a mistake, you pay for it, literally. Not just for you paid them in the filing fee, but you got no recourse against them. They don't have malpractice insurance or a license that you need to protect. You can't file a grievance against them. Sure, you could take them to court for breach of contract, but they're not going to lose their livelihood because of that. Now, let me give you an example. Olga was caught at the border when she came to the United States and then she was released. Now, when she was instructed to go to court, when she didn't go to court, she was ordered removed. That made her ineligible for a green card for 5 years. 2 years ago, and this is common knowledge, any good immigration attorney will know this. 2 years later, she married Todd, a US citizen. Now, Todd was managing a restaurant that Olga worked at. Todd and Olga went to a notario. They actually went to pay the taxes, and they asked this woman, hey, do you know who can help us with immigration? Todd said he wanted to file for Olga. She said, no problem, I can help you. And she tried. Now, the notaria, she's an attorney in Peru, not licensed in New Jersey. She told Olga to go back to Mexico, and Todd would apply for her and her 2 boys that were in Mexico, and they were teenagers at the time. She was wrong. Boy, was she ever wrong. Olga, remember, was inadmissible for 5 years. It's only been 2 for not showing up in court. So Todd and Olga were separated for more than 3 years. And to make matters worse, the notaria filed multiple waivers. Every one of them $985, a 601, a 212, a 601A, filed multiple waivers. Every one of them denied for the same reason. Olga was ineligible for 5 years. What should have happened is Todd should have filed for Olga in the United States the moment the relationship was approved. That's the I-130. The moment that was approved, filed to reopen the removal case, to get rid of the order. Once the order was removed, then filed the terminate proceedings and to do the unlawful presence waiver. She then would have traveled, been outside the United States for 2 to 4 weeks, had an interview at the U.S. Embassy in Ciudad Juarez, and come back into the United States. Instead, what happened, they had that interview, And Olga's two boys, teenagers, who were 13 and 11 at the time, didn't speak a word of English and didn't know Todd at all. They came to the United States, and Olga was supposed to come back after a waiver. Well, that took another 2.5 years. In the meantime, Todd had a really difficult time raising two boys that aren't his own without a language in common. All of this was caused by the bad advice of a notario. And did she take responsibility? Nope, not a thing. Did she refund any money to them? Not a dollar. No, instead what she did is she sent them to me, which was good for Todd and Olga, and we ultimately were able to fix it. But again, 3 years separated, that didn't need to happen. And when you consider the thousands of dollars spent on legal fees, and the thousands more on filing fees, at the end of the day, they paid more money to this notaria and to immigration than they would have had they just hired me. So cheap, it sometimes can be very expensive. Now, third option is to hire a good immigration attorney. You get the strategic advice you need. They can help you implement the process. They can go with you to court or an interview. If they make a mistake, you have recourse because attorneys have a license to protect. A good immigration attorney will also carry malpractice insurance. They serve you because they care. Because if they make a mistake, they are forced to take responsibility if they want to keep their law license. So let me give you an example. This is a case where I've spoken about this before. It was a husband and wife. Husband's 82 years old. Wife is 75 years old. They're applying for their citizenship. Their son had hired us. We did the petitions. We did everything. And I actually advised the son, hey, look, you don't really need to hire us to go with them to this petition. This one is as simple as it goes. They're 80 years old. They've been here for 30 years. I don't see the government denying them their citizenship. Well, let me tell you what happened. So we went to the interview. I was concerned about the husband, about dad, because he's 82 years old. He's deaf in one ear and has a hearing aid in the other. We show up to the officer. Officer is very respectful. Officer is fantastic. The phone is right above him. They brought the translator via phone because, again, he's been here so many years. He qualified to do it, to take the exam in his own language. And the officer was very patient. He was approved, U.S. citizen, no problem. Now we go to his wife, Mom, who has a different officer. That did not work out well at all. And honestly, I had no worries about her. She has no hearing problems, no cognitive issues. Everything's fantastic. No health issues. She's a little bit younger. We go to the interview. Well, first problem, we sit down. The phone is 9 feet away, and it's by speakerphone. So the translator can't hear our client, and our client can't hear the translator. Officer wants to adjourn the hearing. I said, hold on, man. We can't adjourn this. We're here. Husband was just approved. She's going to be approved. They're traveling. They really need to do this today. She said, well, there's nothing I can do. So I went out. I spoke to the supervisor. Supervisor comes out. He speaks to the IT person comes in, gives a new cable, so now we can move the phone closer to her. Problem solved, right? You would think, great. Sit down. There's no translators available. She says, well, listen, I don't know what else to do. I have to adjourn you. I said, nope. I'm going to go out, ask for the supervisor. Supervisor comes and said, listen, what can you do? Supervisor gives us another officer who's bilingual, fluent Spanish speaker from Argentina. She was phenomenal. She became a U.S. citizen. I never would have imagined that in as open and shut a case as that was, I would have had to call the supervisor twice. But she got approved because we fought for it. That was her day. There was no reason for her to be adjourned. Now, I didn't tell the officer that she was going to travel. She might be out of the country for more than 6 months. That's why it needed to happen when it happened. They also had an appointment the next morning to get their passport. It all worked out in the end, but wow. Simple process, and look what happened. So, third question, how do I find the right attorney? Finding the right attorney has never been more important than now. With Trump wanting to deport every immigrant, getting quality representation is key. Look, it's not like the law has changed. It hasn't. Trump has not been able to pass, to change much. He's changed regulations, sure. But more importantly, it's the mentality has changed. Immigration has come from an organization that tries to help you achieve your immigration goal to how can they deny your petition for any reason, substantive or procedural. Substantive, I understand. You don't qualify. But process, look, you made a mistake. You submitted the wrong document in the wrong place. They're going to deny you and put you in removal. It's not right, but it is what's happening. So you need someone who's passionate, someone who's really wants to help immigrants. You deserve someone with a burning desire to help immigrants. And you deserve someone who gets you. Someone who has experienced firsthand what it's like to pack up, leave everything that they know, and go to a new land. That person is most likely to help you because they know how hard it is. At its core, law is the solving of problems people face in a nonviolent manner. We all have problems. Make sure the attorney you hire is driven to help immigrants like you with your problems. And with only a couple of questions, you're gonna know whether they have that passion or not. So when you meet or when you speak to a representative of this law firm, of the attorney, pay attention to how you're treated. When you call them on the phone, how are they treating you? Was the staff nice or angry and annoyed at being interrupted? Did the attorney answer your questions, or was he curt and condescending? If he treated you poorly, either the attorney or the firm, before you hired them, how likely do you think they're going to treat you better once you did hire them? So look, here's your homework. I'm going to give you 9 questions, 9 issues that you need to research before meeting the attorney. 9 things to consider. In the meantime, and before you book the appointment, before you meet them, you're going to look at the attorney's website, Facebook, YouTube, and you're going to Google their name. And you're going to look at these 9 questions, and you're going to be prepared when you meet the attorney. So first question, have you written or published any books on immigration? Why is this important? Well, because you want an expert on immigration. Writing a book takes time, it takes patience, and it takes knowledge. You don't want just any attorney. You want an attorney who can clearly diagnose your situation and explain it clearly and concisely. With an author, you can evaluate the attorney's ability before you even meet them by reading their book. I've written many books. 3 principal ones. 1, do you qualify for U.S. legal status? That came out of seminars and presentations that we provided, because at every seminar, somebody would ask one version of, hey, do I qualify if? So I compiled the 9 most common ways that people qualify for U.S. legal status, and that's what the book became. And to be honest, that's what this show became. Para ser legal, to be legal. All came from seminars with people just like you asking questions, hey, do I qualify? 2, have you been interviewed on TV, the radio, or quoted in newspapers? You don't want just any attorney. You want an expert, someone who has been recognized for his or her knowledge. Has the attorney ever been on TV, ever been interviewed on the radio, or had his or her own radio show? Has he or she ever been quoted in a newspaper? Look, none of this means the attorney will do a good job for you, but it helps to know that the media recognize him or her as an expert and have asked for his or her opinion, so maybe you should. 3, what seminars or CLEs, continuing legal education, have you given on immigration? You want a passionate immigrant. You deserve an attorney who has made it his or her mission to educate and inform immigrants of their rights. Best way to do that is through seminars, either to the public or when they have taught other attorneys, like at CLEs. When an attorney gets before an audience and answers questions, you never know what questions you're going to get. How an attorney expresses himself or herself will tell you a lot about their abilities. Review their seminars and judge for yourself. You should find them on the attorney's website, YouTube channel, or Facebook videos. My first seminar, I'll never forget, was on August 5th, 2012. It just so happened to be the day that DACA was implemented. When we chose that day, we didn't know. Since that day, I've easily done over 100 seminars. I love seminars because I get to interact with a large number of people. Question number 4, do you create regular content for your website like blogs or videos? Take a look at the attorney's website. Has it changed in the last 10 years? Immigration is changing dramatically today, almost daily. If the attorney doesn't have an updated website, what else isn't he or she updated? Things are changing dramatically. But if the website isn't updated, you have no way to judge their knowledge or their experience before showing up to the consult. When you have options, wouldn't you prefer to spend your time with someone you know can answer your questions? Question number 5, what are others saying about the attorney? I'm talking about testimonials. There's no better recommendation than from a happy client. If your attorney doesn't have any, run. Either the attorney isn't any good, which you definitely don't want their service, or they never bothered to ask a client what their experience was like with the firm. Neither of those two is good for you. Here are some places you can find testimonials for the attorney you're going to meet. AVO, AVVO, Google reviews, attorney's website, or YouTube channel. Question number 6. Are you actually a licensed attorney? I know this seems silly, but I can't tell you how many clients have come in saying they had an attorney only to find out they had a notario. I mean, I've had clients who came in and said they spoke to a member of my team and thought they were an attorney, even though they always begin saying, hey, I'm Andres and I am an attorney, or I'm not an attorney, whatever it is. That's how we start the conversation. Mistakes happen. Don't let it happen to you. Now, here are things to look out for if you're not sure if they're an attorney or not. 1. Notaries, consultants, travel agents, or others who promise solutions to immigration problems. Look, if you're going to an H&R Block or to a Jackson Hewitt or whomever, and they say, don't worry, I can do your immigration, chances are they're not an attorney. If you're going to a travel agent and they say they can do your immigration papers, chances are they're not an attorney. And don't believe I'm working for an attorney. Okay, let me meet the attorney then. Anyone who guarantees you a visa in exchange for a fee, run away. Lawyers from other countries who aren't licensed to practice in the US are not lawyers here. Don't trust them. If I go to Colombia tomorrow and I want to practice law, will I be able to? No. More importantly, will I have any idea about what the law is like in Colombia? No, why would I? I've never been there. Wasn't educated there. I didn't get my license there. So why would I know that? If I get a license, it's because I have the knowledge and experience for those rules and regulations in that country. Same is true here in the US. So anybody who says, hey, I know somebody, don't worry, I'll get you approved, run. That's fraud, and it could affect you for life. 7. Do you have any ethics violations? Lawyers who commit unethical conduct are subject to discipline. You should know who your attorney is and whether they have been disciplined. The most common complaint is not returning calls. So how were you treated when you made an appointment, when you went to the office, and when you met the attorney? Did they, if you had to leave a message 5 times before they called you back to make an appointment, is that likely going to get any better after you hired them? If you Google attorney ethics grievance and the state, you'll find the state's website and search for the name of the attorney to see if he or she have a grievance. So you could do attorney ethics grievance New Jersey. And then when you get to the website, you can put on this Mejer. You're not going to find anything because I don't have any grievances. 8. Are you a member of AILA? AILA is the American Immigration Lawyers Association. It's the only national legal association because every state, some like New Jersey has New Jersey chapter of the State Bar Association that's focused on immigration. But AILA is the only national organization. Now, AILA is probably the immigration lawyer's best resource for up-to-date information. And while AILA membership is not a guarantee of quality, it does indicate the attorney is keeping up with the rapidly changing field of law. It has never been more important than the time of Trump, where things change by tweet. 9. How much will you charge me for your services? The cost of immigration varies greatly. Deportation defense is very different from a green card removal, for example. Review the contract and make sure you understand the terms. First, there is a contract, right? Second, is it a flat fee or an hourly rate? What I mean is flat fee. Are they going to charge me $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 for this matter? Or are they going to charge me by hour? $100, $300, $500 an hour? And if it's by hour, will the attorney estimate the number of hours that it will take? What about filing fees, mailing fees, translation of documents? Are all those fees included or are they separate? You need to know. With these 9 questions, you're going to be ready to find the best immigration attorney for you. Let's review them quickly. Have you written or published any books? Have you been interviewed on TV and radio? Have you given any seminars or CLEs? Do you create regular content for your website? What are others saying about you? Testimonials. Are you a licensed attorney? Do you have any ethics violations? Are you a member of AILA? And how much are you going to charge me? Armed with these 9 questions, you're going to be ready to find the best immigration attorney for your case. I'm Andres Mejer. Until next time.